I'm going to wrap up day 3 by completing the proposal and tying up a few little loose ends in the outline. Let's go there together. As I moved through the day, I found enough information that I could go ahead and write the outline. Yes, that will probably change in the rough draft, but it always makes me have a sense of accomplishment knowing that it's there and it's primarily created. And I feel like I'm in a good place right now to write the thesis statement. Notice that it wasn't until day 3 that I wrote the thesis statement. Let's look at that together. A buddy film, Training Day 2001, features the buddy relationship of rookie Jake Hoyt and seasoned detective, I'll fix that spelling, Alonzo Harris, a tragic hero who fails in his epic struggle against fate, makes choices which bring about his destruction. Sorry, I had to touch that up a little bit. Okay, so the thesis statement. A buddy film, Training Day 2001, features the buddy relationship. See how many times you have to edit? Features the relationship of rookie Jake Hoyt and seasoned detective Alonzo Harris, a tragic hero who fails in this epic struggle against fate, makes choices which bring about his destruction, and is doomed from the start, but bears no responsibility for possessing greed, his tragic flaw. So that lets the reader know in one sentence that this is a buddy film, this is the title, this is the year, and that we're going to focus in on Alonzo Harris, and that he's a tragic hero. And so the reader knows what the sections of the essay will be. He fails in his epic struggle, number 1. Number 2, makes choices which bring about his destruction. And number 3, is doomed from the start but bears no responsibility for narcissistic greed, his tragic flaw. I don't know if I really want to go into this whole narcissistic thing. But we'll see. We know that may change in the rough draft. Okay, so as you know, we left off earlier today, and we were at the last 2 points of the project. Let me go there. I'll be right back. Each of the pages that I opened today have already been added to EasyBib. And you can see I've been all over the place getting definitions. Some of them are very short, very easy to find, and some have taken just a little bit of time. But they've all been listed in EasyBib, so I don't need to worry about that. I'm not going to close everything out till I'm sure that I've done everything I need to do for the day. Okay, and we came down to our this 4th section, which is the hero makes choices which brings about his destruction. I picked 2. He betrays Jake by asking his puppets to kill him. And remember, they don't. He failed to give Jake credit for the prevention of the rape attempt. That was a key moment in the story because they're driving down the road. It's in the morning, and they're driving past an alleyway, and Jake says, "Stop this car, stop the car." He gets out and goes and disrupts this rape that is in the process of happening. And Alonzo just stands there and watches him take on these 2 guys. And when that is over and he's detained those criminals, the little girl comes out from where she was behind the Dempsey dumpster, and Alonzo tells her to go home. She scoots off. And Alonzo should have taken credit. He should, because of the things that happened later. So that's just, he didn't give Jake enough credit. And I'm going to do that tomorrow. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to highlight these pink just to let me know tomorrow to find it, and that's what I'm doing. Now then, the last of the 3 points is that we are energized by witnessing this eternal drama for it encompasses the fate and stuff of all humans. And I was into some websites that had so much information that I went ahead and wrote up this section. As a young police officer, Alonzo wanted to serve and protect. It was his life and destiny. Because he was confident and charming, his path was set. Alonzo, when assigned the violent world the violent world of East LA, he tells Jake that he must, I need to fix that. Okay, so the first part of this is fate, and I found some interesting sites that had to do with fate and destiny and the difference between them, so that's why I went ahead and wrote this. As a young police officer, Alonzo wanted to serve and protect. It was his life, his destiny. Because he was confident and charming, his path was set. Alonzo, when assigned to the violent world of East LA, explained to Jake that to be truly effective, a narcotics detective must know how to love narcotics. A good narcotics detective should have narcotics in his blood. So that's that one part of that characteristic that needs to be defined. So that is destiny. Destiny is like they were destined to become great. And when does it become fate? It becomes fate when one bad choice leads to another and leads to another, and now it is somebody's fate. There's no turning back. So, this is the last part of that bit of the argument. Alonzo was constitutionally unable to settle for a quiet desk job. In a number of places, he shows that he is that he was swept up in a system that he did not want at first, when he was young and eager to save the world. A turning point occurred in Alonzo's life, and he no longer had the chance to choose that safe option. After dealing with two low-level crack addicts, Alonzo decided to let them go. Despite Jake's eagerness to book them, Alonzo revealed his fate. We're professional anglers, Alonzo explained to Jake. We reel in the big ones. What is the stuff of all humans? In my experience, the human encounter. I just came up with a neat little website that went into that. So I still have to complete that tomorrow. So I'm going to come back here and I'm going to highlight it pink so that I know that tomorrow I need to come back to it. That's the way I do from day to day so I don't lose it. I just wanted to make sure I got all the good stuff out of those. Okay, and then I worked a little bit on the conclusion, and I found all of the definitions that I needed to find. Remember, I put all those in red, so you can see where if I found something, I took the red out so that I can see later on that I've already done that, and I'm going to go back to the blue things. Okay, I'll have to look later and see if that one's good enough. But here's what I mean by finding nifty little websites and being able to use them in several different places. This has to do with the stuff of humans. And what that means is that people are as different as night and day, but there are some things that we all have in common. And one of the neat things that I found was from this psychological study at the University of Chicago. And they were native speakers from English, Mandarin, Turkish, and Spanish, asking them to describe a scene they saw in a video using only their hands. And they all described it the exact same way. So some things are just universal. And then I always like to go to Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I'm trying to find it. This is always a good thing to have available when writing an essay, because if your essay is about literature, there's going to be some discussion of humans and humankind, and this hierarchy of needs can be very useful when you are asking yourself, why does somebody do what they do? And so you can see that it moves from, and I have a tutorial in the classroom, but you can see it goes from physiological needs. We all need food, water, warmth, and rest. Next, we need security and safety. And then we move into the higher needs, which are belongingness and love, intimate relationships and friends, esteem, needs, prestige and feeling of accomplishment, and self-actualization, achieving one's full potential, including creative activities. So I usually have that one up, and I use it almost always when I'm doing an analysis of characters. And the little section that I just showed you is from this article, The Difference Between Fate and Destiny. Well written, easy to understand, and I used part of it, and I liked having that at my disposal because some people say it was his destiny, some people say it's his fate, and there's a big difference between the two. Then we had the definition of fate. And back to my old friend Britannica. I didn't really find anything here that was particularly useful, but I kept it open just in case. And then this one is a fantastic page because there are 1 million definitions of tragic. Millions of people. But the granddaddy of them all is Aristotle. So when in doubt, go to the ultimate authority. And that would be the person who everything else was built on. And that's Aristotle. So I've had this open, and I've got to I think I copied and pasted it already into that miscellaneous folder. I don't want to lose it because I've used it all kinds of different places. I used it in the conclusion, saying that he suffered more than he deserved. And these are the common traits of a tragic hero. This is all Aristotle, and it's just fantastic. I used this part up here. I used little bits of it everywhere. So that one was a really good find. I was so excited. It's just one page, super easy to find. I didn't have to go through any problems getting to that definition. When I was doing the part about, the really important part about Roger, this is Roger. Roger's a mega dealer, and they bust him, get all the money. And this is Jake making the decision not to shoot him. So I found that image. Film locations are totally exciting. In case I need to get back to this later, I have it all saved. Look how cool this is. Since I'm arguing that the world of the story is the antagonist, what better site to have up and available than the film locations? I love this. This is just awesome. Okay, moving on. When I'm trying to find something in the script and it's like a needle in a haystack, I try to remember, if I can, part of what they said so I can conduct a search for that. Or I can write down the character, and that helps me try to find something in a script. And sometimes it's super easy, and sometimes, oh, where did that happen? And this again has the cast list. It depends on which one, but I always have it open. This was the website that calls him the antagonist. And remember, I'm saying he's not the antagonist. He's the protagonist. But for the world of this story, he would have been a wonderful cop. It is only because of the world of the story that he turns bad. And I found this really cool quote in there. He must control the rules, control his partner, control his friends, control his enemies, and even control the odds that he will be caught breaking the law. Anyone, including Officer Hoyt, who refuses complete submission to Harris's personal plight of anarchy will be sliding down a slippery slope of self-serving justice. What an awesome quote! So I highlighted that. I found the place in the outline where that would work, and I popped it in there, being sure to quote where it came from. Right? Cool. All right. Then I remember we had to find the oath that they take. I did not need to include the entire oath. It isn't necessary. You don't want to have quotes that are just as long as your arm. They need to be short, complete, and to the point, and only include the information that you need the reader to see in order to prove your point. And also, when I am citing something that's legislation, I spend a lot more time on that citation than I do on some others, because it's a piece of legislation, and that's important. That's my tour for the day, but I'm pretending that this proposal is due tomorrow. The rest of the essay isn't due for a few weeks, but the proposal has to be turned in. So I've gone over here and looked at the bottom, which changed a little while ago, 406 words. I figured that now because I don't get credit for the words that are in my bibliography. So I've got that ready to go. The hero is Alonzo Harris. This is where I got the script. And there's the actual link if the instructor needs to see the link where I obtained the script. And I went ahead and wrote the thesis statement. On some proposals, there will be a need for a thesis statement, and some there won't. And that's that same thesis statement that I showed you. I'll grab back. Okay, so we have the thesis statement, brief summary of the hero's action. The hero is an example of a tragic hero. Qualities of the archetype. And this is what we're filling in here. So that's all set and ready to go. The actions of the hero, which, you know, well, let's go back over there to the outline. Okay, I'll just give this. I'll just put this in there. It's already done. It's already ready to go. I'll just copy and I'll put that over here in the proposal. Okay, so I just added that in. Okay, and then the actions, the 6 actions, 1 and 2, 3 and 4, and 5 and 6. And then we'll be putting in the works cited. First, this is a mess. So we're going to go over here. We're going to select all. And we zoom over here. And we're going to make it all Times New Roman. We're going to make it all 14. And we're going to put over here no color. And we're going to make all the typeset red. And now we're just going to clean it up. Make sure that everything is spaced properly. Okay, that's done. Good. I didn't need that A and B, though, stuff. This brief summary, they wanted a brief summary. They didn't want A's and B's and all that kind of stuff from the outline. So let's just fix that up. Good, good. Qualities of the archetype. These are those qualities that we've been working on all day. One, 2, and 3. Take out that space. Let's go ahead and move this down to a new page. These are the actions of the hero. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And now let's go and get the works cited. We're going to delete this because let's save this first. You know, oh gosh, saved it. Okay, let's go over to EasyBib together. Now we have our project as far as we've gotten so far. And we are going to export. Always export to a Word document because it always messes up otherwise. Export. And it's going to show up in our little tray down here. And we wait for it to magically open. There it is in a beautiful page. We're going to enable editing. And we're going to go through this and make sure that we don't have any repeats, because I usually do. Since I'm always citing everything that stands still, I sometimes will put things in wrong. I mean, I'll just put them in more than one time. Nice, good. Whoops. Two different things. Okay. I think. No, it is. Okay. Training day. And that's training day trivia. So I'm going to leave it in because it's two different parts of the same thing. And I already did that. Remember, I did that back up here under his name, under the guy's name. So I don't need this one because I've already cited it with the author's name. Okay, perfect. Perfect. So I select all. And I'm going to copy it. And I'm going back over to my proposal. That's where it goes. Paste. Beautiful. All formatted perfectly. Very good, very good, very good. Okay, so do we have everything ready? It's all filled in. Hero essay proposal. And I've just timed it training day. Okay. I'm looking this over one last time. This is where they wanted, you know, I already had it done in the outline, so why not give it to them? Remember this little part here, whenever I quote something, and because it's in the wrong tense, I just put brackets around it, and that means that those are my own words. This is a quote, but I had to insert my own words in here to make the tense correct. And I do that by putting those little brackets there. Beautiful. Beautiful. It's not I have to make it consistent with the other fonts, so I'm making it Times New Roman 14 like the rest of the thing. So when you go through this proposal, everything is in the same font. It's all cleaned up. Everything is tidy. It's set to go. And all of it's in Times New Roman 14 font, unless they've asked for something different. Okay. All right. I'm going to do two things. I'm going to save it. And I'm going to save it as a PDF. And the PDF is what I'm going to submit. But I have the Word document there just in case I should need it later on. Here it is as a PDF. I'm just going to save this to our folder. Remember, we have that nifty little folder on the desktop. All right, friends, that about wraps up day 3. We have accomplished a tremendous amount of work today. And I feel safe in closing down those websites. I know I can find them back by looking over there at the Works Cited. I've completed the proposal. I'm ready to turn it in. I'm going to wait until in the morning. It's not due until tomorrow midnight. But I'm going to sleep on it, and I'm going to give it one more quick look-see tomorrow before I submit it. I love having things ready just a little bit before the time that they're due. It gives me that wonderful feeling that I don't have to experience that, whoops, I forgot the word count, which I've done too. So I hope that those little tricks of the trade helped you see how fantastic an outline is. You will see tomorrow we are going to finish those last 2 sections. We'll finish up the conclusion, and if we have time, we'll get started on the rough draft. You will be amazed when you see how the rough draft looks when it comes from this kind of a detailed outline. It's a matter of putting it all in there, proofreading it, giving it a once-over, and saving it. So tomorrow we're going to have to play with some images and put images in there also. All right, that concludes day 3.